Hey, so y'all see the title of the video? Alright, this basically is a response to the video Scarface from Street Beefs uploaded earlier today. It was basically a video of him talking about amateur fighters and pro fighters, right, coming to the backyard and can a can a backyard fighter beat an amateur fighter or a pro fighter? And it was a really, you know, interesting topic that he had brought up. And I think, you know, some people can take it the right way or some people can take it the wrong way. People that don't know much about MMA or boxing or combat sports in general. So I figure I'll clear it up to my on my side and break it down the way it should be broken down, right? So so can an amateur fighter, can a backyard fighter beat a a pro fighter or an amateur fighter? Well, here it is. It depends on this, right? What is the amateur or pro fighter's background? Now, there are pro fighters out there that suck. There should be amateur fighters that shouldn't be fighting at all right? They get into the ring. They are what you call tomato cans, right? They don't really train. They got a bunch of fights, but they don't train for it. They don't really put any effort into it. They really just show up to hit the floor, uh, and collect the paycheck, or they just come there to fuck around and fight. That's what a tomato can is. So if we're talking about, you can be a pro fighter in like boxing or even MMA. I know dudes who got like 20 MMA fights that are pros and they have lost like 15 of them. They've won maybe five by decision, and the fighters that they fought were not good. Were tomato cans too. So uh, that's a possibility. Can a backyard fighter beat a guy that is a tomato can that doesn't like the guy? I don't know if you guys know Andrew Hartley, right? The guy who fought Charlie Zelenoff. He's a pro fighter. He has his pro card for boxing. So can a backyard fighter go in there and beat Andrew fucking Hartley? Absolutely. There's a bunch of other fighters that fight MMA, fight kickboxing, that are tomato cans that come there that should not be pros, but they got their pro cards because they paid for it. And they come there, they fight, they get hit one time and they fall to the ground. They curl up into a ball. They at the end of that they collect a little $500 paycheck and they go home. There's a lot of guys that do that. So can a backyard fighter beat somebody like that? Yes. Yes. Because they're not, their heart is not, they may have the record, but their heart is not into fighting. They're not fighters for real in the first place, because they're guys that they are what you call, like I just said, a tomato can. They are there to collect a paycheck. They are not there to fight. You know, they're paid the show. They're more like entertainers. So if we're talking about that, yes. Now, are we talking about a backyard fighter being able to beat somebody with actual experience, who actually trains every day, whose goal is to be in like one of these big top promotions, or one of the fighters is already fighting in this big top promotion? Can a backyard fighter beat someone like that? Absolutely not. Hell no. I don't know one backyard. Well, here's the thing, right? What is a backyard fighter, right? What even is a backyard fighter? A backyard fighter is basically, someone that fights in the yard, like me, that fights in the yard. That some backyard fighters, they may have a couple amateur fights, again, like me, you know, uh, and their goal is to become, you know, a professional fighter. But some backyard fighters just do it just for fun, you know. But to say they're gonna beat somebody that's, at the level of a real pro is kind of crazy. I don't even know why Scarface would try to make a video like that saying to you know because again, like, you know it's a world of difference between an actual pro fighter and a backyard fighter. So to compare the two, it, it it's not even a comparison. You know, he says, "Oh, it doesn't matter your skill level. We'll have anybody that can match you." So you're telling me if fucking Max Holloway or uh, one of these top level fighters came there to say, you know what, I want to fight a street beast fight, you're gonna have somebody that can match his skill level? No, you're not. You can bring anybody in your yard, he's gonna dust them in 2 minutes. You know, there's nobody fighting in the fucking backyard. There may be a couple guys that have amateur or pro backgrounds, but let's be real. How extensive was it? You know what I mean? Like how extensive was it? There's no pro fighter wasting their time with backyard fights because they have ascended above that. There's no real amateur fighters that's wasting their time with backyard fights because they have ascended above that. Now, with amateur fighters, they may fight in the backyard once or twice, just because it's like, for example, during the whole COVID thing, all right, nobody could get a fight because events and stuff were closed, stuff like that, and it's easy. You don't, street beefs. You don't really have. There's no medicals or anything you got to do. You can just show up and they give you an opponent. That's another reason that attracts a lot of people to the backyard thing, because when you do amateur events, you have to have medicals, right? You got to get your blood work done. In a lot of states, you have to have your eye exam. You got to have, you know, a doctor's note. And with the amateur fights, you really have to have health insurance, right? Because let me tell you this, right? When I went to my last kickboxing event in Delaware, I didn't have my health insurance card on me. The fucking doctor there was like, okay, well, if you get cut, I'm gonna have to stitch you up, and that's gonna cost $100. That day I turned around so quick to say, bro, listen, fuck that. I got gauze, some Band-Aids, Vaseline, blood stop, bro. I don't need you to fucking patch me up. If I'm that badly hurt, I'll go to the fucking hospital and they'll look my damn insurance card up. But I just forgot my insurance card and disabled wallet. But point of the matter is, you need health insurance. Backyard fight, you don't need to prove any of that shit. To see. But that's how crazy it is. They're charging you money out of your pocket to come there, even though you're entertaining everyone fucking there to fight for free, right? You're putting your ass on the line so they can have a fucking laugh. You gotta remember, in amateur fights, you're not making $1 off of that shit. You're just coming there. You're paying to get there. You're paying the sign. The fucking fees so you can fight. You gotta pay your health insurance. You're paying so you can get that. Which, I mean, everything in life you have to do starting out, you have to pay, right? You have to pay to go to trade school. You have to pay to go to college. So it's the same thing with amateur MMA. If you want to make a career, or boxing, you have to pay in order for you to get to the level so you can make money off of that kind of stuff. If you want to do that, So it's not me complaining or nothing like that. I'm just saying how ridiculous it is. But, it is kind of ridiculous at the end of the day, because I do believe they could get more people in there and not have to pay for so much shit. The promoters are already, especially amateur promoters, a lot of amateur promoters are scumbags because, they don't have to pay the fighter shit. And if you're living in a state where that stuff is really popular, you can make a lot of money off of being a promoter for amateur fights. I know some amateur promoters that make more than you know, make more than some of these pro promoters. But back to what I was saying about Scarface, man. Uh, you know, the comment about him, saying that he's got fighters in his yard that could take on pro fighters that are in the best leagues is ridiculous, man. Like if you go on Street Beefs, if you go on Street Beefs channel, and this is not me shitting on him or nothing like that, or talking bad about him or nothing like that, but I just think it's kind of crazy to say that because like, come on, you got to be real, you got to be realistic. He's saying he's seen it and stuff like that, but like what I've seen is dudes in Street Beefs, the fights don't last no more than 2 to 4 minutes because the guys there don't have the fucking stamina to keep up or the technique really to even guys that are really good, that are good enough to go amateur, like they're not up to the standards for what I've seen. Like go put on a Street Beast fight. This is what I want you to do. Go put on a Street Beast fight and then turn on a a UFC fight, a ONE FC fight, a Pride fight, uh, uh, a K1 fight, a boxing match. Go throw on one of these fights. Throw on a Bellator fight and compare them. It's night and day. The skill level is night and day. Fuck, compare it to some of these amateur fights out here. The skill levels is still night and day. You can tell. And now listen, this is not what I'm saying. I'm saying like there are amateurs and pros that suck that don't train every day. Yes, those are the guys. If they fight in Street Beefs, a lot of these guys in Street Beefs could run over them because they got good fighters in Street Beefs. But they're not gonna run over guys that are fighting in the fucking UFC or fighting in the ONE FC or that train every day in the fucking heat out in Thailand and shit. There's no Street Beefs fighters that's fighting in the backyard in fucking Virginia or California or all that's beating those guys. That's false advertisement, And anybody that will believe that it would be a fucking fool, you know. All you have to do is literally look at the fights and you'll see that the skill level is night and day, bro. But not even this is, and I'm not talking out of my ass with this because I have backyard fights, I have amateur fights, I've sparred with dudes that have fought at Street Beefs, you know. I fought backyard fights, I fought amateur fights, and I can tell you the skill level is night and fucking day. You can't compare backyard competition to elite competition. It's not the same. It's not the fucking same, bro. I know a guy that's a pro fighter, Jesse Stearns, one of the guys that in Maryland, bro, he would run through the whole Street Beef yard in his weight class. Like that. Like that. Another dude I know, Peter Pettis, would run through the whole Street Beef yard like that. Like that. And I'm telling you, like none of it's the skill level is night and day. And I'm not talking out of my ass with that. It's it's just facts, but like I said, the way he explained it the first time he's trying to say just because what Scarface wanted to get down to was in which I commend him for this. What he was really trying to say is just because you have amateur or pro fights does not mean you're gonna come run through the. It makes sense because, like I said before, some amateur fighters, some pro fighters are tomato cans. Okay, they suck. So yes, can a person in the backyard with no fights at all come that trains come run through a tomato can? Yes, they absolutely can. But are they going to beat an actual pro fighter that trains every single day? No, they're not. They're going to get their ass kicked, you know? And like I said, the reason why you don't see pro fighters come in there is like, why would they waste their time with that? These guys make 10, 15, 20, 30, some even $30,000 off of a fight. Why would they come fight in the backyard in mud for free? So that's all I gotta say about that.